Alright, we're back for a relatively quick video. We're going to go over one of the basic moving fundamentals for Luigi's Mansion speedrunning, and that is going to be using the element to perform flashlight cancels and vacuum cancels and flashlight skips. They sound similar. They often get confused with each other, but they're two different things. So one thing that's always a major issue, you pull out the vacuum, see how long it takes. It takes you a full second. That's slow. So you actually hold, it's the same with the element. However, if you slam down the L trigger, you don't want to actually like slam it down as fast as you can. There's like, you kind of want to just, you've got to have a trigger to be able to do this, but you got to have an analog trigger. See this? You can see it on my input control. If I just hold it down immediately, I got to get more fire. Watch that analog trigger real quick. If I hold it down immediately, I just slowly pull it out. If I do it too slow, it comes out. But if I do it kind of slow, I get it out faster. Now that's going to be important in lit rooms when, let's say, you just finished grabbing a gem and you need to make your way to spawning a boo as fast as possible. I mean, you know what? We'll just use this room as an example, right? You would never do this in an actual run, but this is just purely an example. You grab a gem or a key of some kind, right? Let's say there's a boo in the chair over there and you need to get him as quick as possible. In fact, I'm going to set a save state right here. All right. Well, if I turn around and pull out the vacuum, okay, cool, I activated it, but I could activate it an entire second faster if I do that. So what you want to do is, the save state doesn't want to, oh, okay, well, maybe, okay. So there's this aspect to it, right, where you pull out the element. Well, the instant you do that, just switch to holding your vacuum, and you essentially pull out your vacuum faster. Now, sometimes you'll miss it. It's just part of the way it goes. But doing that is way faster than... That might not seem like much, but again, you do it 50 times across the run. That's a whole minute. So... Now, there is something called a half cancel, which is a vacuum cancel, but it preserves your element, and it's pretty difficult. You have to do an RLR. So that missed it. So that was a half cancel right there. So there's a half cancel. There's a half cancel. There's a half cancel. So, I mean, you can just load up a file and come into the hallway and practice this. It's RLR. You've got to release R right before you... But it preserves the element because there were certain sections of the game where you use a lot of element, and it's pretty important to be able to preserve it. If you're like a beginner, it's not as big of a deal, but over the course of time, that's going to add up. So now we're going to look at flashlight cancels. Those are a little bit different. So there's a flashlight cancel. Let me show you what happens if I walk in the room normally, right? Watch how long it takes me to pull out the vacuum. Or, yeah, the flashlight. I stood there an entire second, right? Well, if I tap element, the instant I pull out the flashlight, I start moving immediately. And again, how many dark rooms do you enter? Several dozen. So that'll add up to dozens more seconds. So that's just a fundamental... movement technique you can use in this game to speed up your gameplay a little bit. I suggest you just begin going for it immediately. You're not going to hit it every time, but missing it is what's going to make you get it. So even if it doesn't save you time, you don't lose time going for it. So go for it. I would go for it anyway. So yeah. And this will be used later to catch certain cycles. So if you plan on taking yourself to the next level, you need to know how to use this stuff, because there are some places where if you aren't able to do this, the boos leave in the room. The money's going to despawn. So, I mean, later on, it's going to make such a big deal when you're going for riskier strategies. You need that time to actually not lose 10 seconds. And it's not because missing this loses 10 seconds, but you needed it to be able to get to the boo in time, and then he leaves the room, so you're losing 10 seconds. So just, something to note. Always practice going for it whenever you get the chance, because it doesn't lose you time over just pulling out the vacuum anyway.